Hello, my name's Skylar, and welcome to my shop. Now, I have a lathe right here, and I make a lot of pens. I was thinking, a lot of people make pens. What is different? What's something new to do? And I was like, well, what's like wood? And honestly, nothing came to mind immediately. So I went to the craft shop. I found the first employee I could find, and I said, get me something that's like wood. And she said, what? And I said, is there someone smarter I can speak to? The answer to that was no. Anyway, as I was thinking, I was like, wine barrel would be cool, but I'm not going to get that here at the craft shop. But wine cork. Cork is made from tree. It's tree bark, isn't it? So what I did is I got myself a baggie of these wine corks. And I was like, well, bet you I can make a pen out of this. I hope I can. We're going to find out. So what I did is I cut down these brass barrels. And let's get started. First thing I noticed when sifting through all of these corks is I noticed they're not all the same size. About a 1/4 inch difference in between those two. And you really need everything to be about the same size as your brass tube. And if you notice, so some of them are a lot shorter than the brass tube there. So my idea is I've got two cutoffs of the same type of wood here, and I've got two of these corks. I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to glue these cutoffs onto the cork and clamp it. But I do have two that are about the same size as the brass tubes. So I'll have a backup set with some spalted tamarind glued on. And I'm just going to use wood glue. I've got some here. I'm reasonably confident that this will work. Got some clamps. So, do that. I'm also reasonably confident you don't need to make it too tight because it will shift like that, and you kind of want it to be centered. And that's the thing about cork material is it's really soft. So you can squish it and crush it as well, and you don't really want to do that. You just want it tight enough to get a firm seal. Now, because it's wood glue and not, like super glue or anything, you have to let that sit overnight. Luckily, like I said, I have two that are the same length as the brass barrel I need for the pen. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and glue those in as well. But I'm not going to show you that part because literally what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put glue on the barrel and push it inside the cork. So there's nothing special about that. It'll look just like this, but with super glue. Alright, cool. So I have my 2 bits of cork with the sleeves in them, and they're all glued in. And there's one thing I wanted to point out is, I don't know how well you can see it. There we go. If you don't drill very slowly, you will tear out the wine cork because it's so soft. Your entry point will be pretty clean, but the exit will be pretty torn up. The best way to avoid this is because you can't necessarily clamp it in a device because it's round and not square like a normal pen blank, is you just drill very slowly. You wouldn't have this issue with a little piece of wood glued on top, the cutoff pieces, because you could start through there, start through the cork and exit through the cut off and it won't tear out because the wood is actually much denser than the cork, obviously. But now that this is all chucked up, I've got my bushings where they need to be. Let's go ahead and start with a skew and get to work. I'm going to turn the speed up fairly high. Just because I feel like the faster I spin it, the less likely I am to tear the entire cork out. Alright, cool. So I vacuumed up and I took the tool rest off. I'm going to start with 240 grit sandpaper because this is very soft and 240 is still kind of abrasive for something like this. So I don't want to accidentally take too much off. Speed it up and get to town. Okay, yeah, that was exactly what I was worried about, was that huge blowout there. Yeah, that just ripped the whole damn thing off. Alright, well, I'm going to continue to sand this one right here. I'll leave that one on. Okay, so what I've done now is I put these non-stick nylon bushings on because I'm going to put a glue finish on. That is acrylic glue. So what I've done is I put a rubber glove on, and I've got a little bit of English oil here. I'm going to put just the smallest amount of English oil on a paper towel. That'll help the glue kind of move around. It won't stick to the oil as quickly or as easily as it will, you know, everything else I'm trying to glue up here. I've got my lathe set on the lowest speed it can possibly go, and I'm going to gently drip glue across the wine cork. Alright, so after about 13 coats of glue and, I don't know, 6 shots of Jack and Coke, what I've done now is I've brought out my acrylic pads and my 600 paper. I'm going to give it a wet sand on a really low speed. Well, not really low, on a moderately low speed. And I don't want the pads or the paper to become dry, because I just want to buff it a little. Okay. Alright, finishing up here, I got it all pressed together. Um, it fits well in the hand. The glue finish has made it pretty strong. Bring it closer to the camera here. I don't really believe Bacote works too well with gunmetal. But all in all, I feel like this is a really great spur of the moment idea I had. Twist. It's just a simple twist pen. Would I do it again? Sure. Would I make some modifications? Absolutely. I feel like the thickness of this pen's really good because the closer I would get to the point here, um, like I said, it blew out the first time you saw that. So, the narrower you get, the more gentle you gotta be. I feel like the randomness of the holes in the cork is pretty unique. So, it is a great idea. I would do it again. I would suggest it. So that was today's project. Let's see what we can do next time. So this is the pen all polished up here. It looks great. The one-step plastic polish really put a fantastic shine on the super glue. If you like what you see here, make sure to subscribe and give the video a like, and go ahead and look up Magic Skylar Cosplay on Facebook and give us a like and a follow there too, so you can see more of the great videos to come.